Hi everyone, welcome to PM Coding. Today I will show you how to create this burger navigation that changes color when I hover over it. So let's get started. To start off, I've already done most of the markup and also the styling to keep this video short. I will link the complete code below so that it's accessible to you through my GitHub and also through my CodePen. If I start the site, you can see how it looks right now. As you can see, there is no burger icon yet visible. I will begin by implementing the markup for this. I've already got a div with the ID burger. I will give it 3 div children and I will give each the class burger line. Then I will apply styling to them. I've already applied some basic style to the div with the burger ID. And now I will do the styling for the burger-line divs. I will give it a background color black. I want it to be as wide as the parent, so I will give it 100% width. For the height, I will specify 3 pixels. Then I will apply display inline flex to the parent. I'm using inline flex so that it becomes an inline element and it's easier for me to position the site name right next to it. I want the lines to stack below each other, so I will give it a flex direction column. I also want there to be space between the lines, so I will use justify content, space around. If you look at the site now, we should see the burger icon. Right now there is no color change, so I'll implement that next. I will use the pseudo selector after to do this. In order for the content to show up here, I need to specify it. In this case, I will just assign an empty string. I want this to be as wide as the parent, which in this case is the div with the class burger line, and I also want it to have the same height. Then I want to position the content in after right on top of the parent. I will achieve this by using position relative and position absolute. I will apply position relative to the parent and position absolute to the pseudo selector after. This way it gets positioned relatively to the parent. I will use left 0 so that it gets positioned right at the left of the parent, and because it has a width of 100 and height of 100, it will cover the element completely. For it to show up, I will also give it a background color. If we look at it now, we can see that the lines are red and the content in the after is covering the black lines. Next, I want to implement the color change on hover. I will apply a hover state to the div with the ID burger. And then specify the background color within the burger line after. This way, if we hover over the icon, the lines change color. The transition, however, is not very smooth, so I'll do that next, and I will use transform scale X for this. By putting scale X 0, the width of the content becomes 0%. I will then use transform scale X 1 to make the content grow to 100% when I hover over the icon. To make the change smooth, I will also use transition, and I will apply that to transform. I will specify half a second and ease in. You can of course change these, you can make it slower or faster. Now if we look at it, we can see that the color change is smoother. However, if I stop hovering, it immediately changes color. The reason for this is that the background color is applied to the hover state. So the moment I stop hovering, it immediately loses its background color. To solve this, I'll just need to put it back to before. Now if we hover over it, and also when we leave it, the transition is smooth. But it changes from the middle, and I want it to change from the left, so I will apply a transform origin left to it. This way the color change comes from the left and also leaves to the left. Now I want to change the color of the individual lines, and I will use the Env selector for this. Here I am selecting the very first line, and I will give it a background color. I've already specified some CSS variables just to make this a bit easier. I will also give each line a box shadow to create the appearance like it's slightly glowing. I will do the same for the other two lines. I will just change the color and the selector so that it's the second line here. And the color is blue. And this is the third line. And the color should change to a dark blue. If we have a look at the sign now, we can see that each line has its own color. Another thing that I wanted to implement is that I also want the lines to grow in height, not only in width, and I can do that by using scale instead of scale X. So with scale, you can specify two parameters. The first is for the x-axis, which is the width, and the second is for the y-axis, which is the height. I will leave the height at 1 at the beginning. And then on hover state, I want it to be 30% taller, so I'll give it 1.3. Now, if we have a look at it, it should also grow in height. You can leave this if that's not really something you want to do, but I thought I'll show it anyway. A disadvantage of using a div for the burger navigation is that we cannot tab on it with our keyboard. This is not very accessible friendly, so to solve it, I can just give the div with the ID burger a tab index of 0. This way, if someone is using a keyboard to navigate the page, they can just simply use the tab to open the navigation menu. And now it works, it opens the navigation. As mentioned before, I will link the complete code below. This also includes the JavaScript, which is opening the burger. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you liked it, please subscribe. I put out videos every week. I'm also on social media, so feel free to follow me. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.